Good evening. Welcome to the Kelly Wright Show on the Black News Channel. Coming up tonight, we've heard the horrible news about the state of our black youth. If you watch what the mainstream media reports, our black girls and boys are in dire straits with no way of escape. Well, here on the Kelly Wright Show on the Black News Channel, we declare that assertion to be an alarming false narrative of the actual state of our youth. And tonight, we will show you proof that our youth are young, gifted, and black. Despite everything we go through in our communities, we know that hope prevails. In fact, historically, we have seen our cause to lift every voice and sing, from our glorious past in Africa to our endurance and perseverance to overcome slavery, Jim Crow, and achieve a dream of equality. And you see, it all starts with what we teach at home, because the ruin of a nation is birthed in the homes of our people. Therefore, the opposite is also true. The greatness of our nation begins in the homes of our people. So what's in your home? We want to talk about our accomplishments within the black community, the nation, and the world. For example, let's talk about the great abolitionist Frederick Douglass, who escaped from slavery, and he explained that if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Power, he adds, concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. So we speak the truth to power here on the Kelly Wright Show, as well as on the Black News Channel, that our youth have a future and a hope. And to that end, we quote once again from Frederick Douglass, who stated, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And because of that, we will be talking today about the power of mentoring. In our black communities, many young boys grow up fatherless. And I am one of those who grew up in a home without a dad. However, I had a loving and powerfully inspirational mother who mentored me and put positive male role models in my life to influence me to become the best that I can be. Hopefully, I'm doing justice to June Lorraine Overton Wright. So today, we'll be talking to Vondale Singleton, the founder of the mentoring group Champs in Chicago. What an unbelievable program. He'll be talking to us about Black Boy Joy as well. Also joining us tonight is Dr. Leslie Baskerville, Executive Director of NAFIO, the National Association for Equal Opportunity in Higher Education, which is the not-for-profit umbrella organization of the nation's historically black colleges and universities. Then one of the top motivational speakers in the world, Dr. Willie Jolly, will be joining us along with his wife Dee to inspire us and encourage us how to strengthen the black family. And John Stevenson will discuss the significance of servanthood. After all, think about it. Service is the rent we pay to live here on planet Earth. And now, your headlines. The death toll from the coronavirus topped 1,000 on Monday as more than 42,000 cases were confirmed across the globe. More people have died from the flu-like virus than were killed during the SARS virus outbreak in 2003. An additional case of coronavirus has been confirmed. The person is located in San Diego, bringing the number of cases in the United States to 13. The official said that the patient had been evacuated from the Wuhan province in China on a State Department chartered flight last week. Global health officials have warned that the current cases could be just the tip of the iceberg. Dr. Ann Suchat, Principal Director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, provides an update on the CDC's ongoing response to the coronavirus outbreak.
Of the 13 cases here in the United States, 11 occurred in individuals who themselves had traveled in Hubei province or in Wuhan. 2 of the individuals had very close contact, household contact, husband and wife contact with one of those cases. We do not have widespread transmission here in the United States, and we are currently operating under a strategy of trying to delay the arrival of individual cases and to slow the spread of cases should they occur.
Meanwhile, dozens of new cases were confirmed Monday on a quarantine cruise ship in Yokohama, Japan, including more Americans. The number of passengers already removed or soon to be removed from the Diamond Princess for treatment in Japanese hospitals stood at 135 Monday. On Monday, the White House revealed its budget proposal for fiscal year 2021. The plan includes a boost to military defense spending, cuts to Medicare and Medicaid, and some are applauding a one-time $1 billion boost for affordable early child care programs. According to the Economic Policy Institute, the federal government spends an estimated $22.2 billion annually, with an additional $11.8 billion in funding from state and local governments. All this should be taken with a grain of salt, however, because the president's budget is just a wish list. It is, after all, up to Congress to make final decisions on the federal budget, and that process is likely to be put off until later this year. Well, John Legend is spreading the love by celebrating Valentine's Day with an all-new animated series on Facebook. The episodes are airing now. The project is titled Dear John, Legendary Love Letters. The series focuses on the different ways we all show and express love. Let's listen to John as we toss to this break.
Telling tales full of heart and hope and inspiration and hilarity. And we wanted to spread all that love to you.
Continuing now with our focus on mentoring and education. Historically black colleges and universities serve a very important role in the education of the African American community, providing students with an opportunity to gain a higher education and move on to greater careers. One person in the forefront of that is Dr. Leslie Baskerville. She is a graduate of Howard University School of Law, which is an HBCU. And beyond her role as a lawyer, she is also the president and CEO of the National Association for Equal Opportunity in Higher Education, better known as NAFIO, which is the umbrella organization of the historically black colleges and universities. So, welcome to the Kelly Wright Show. It's good to have you on. And tell me, if you will, Dr. Baskerville, why you're involved in NAFIO and why HBCUs are so important to our community.
So I'd like to thank you so much for having me, and I'm humbled and privileged to be here. I'm involved in serving NAFIO as I did for 20 years pro bono as their outside counsel, because my calling, I believe, is to create an environment in which we can prepare, inspire, connect, and guide all students into and out of a college of their choosing or a training program of their choosing. But I'm most especially concerned about the students of least advantage, students who unfortunately too often get mired in the margins and are not strategically guided into and out of college. And so it's my privilege to serve as the voice for Blacks in Higher Education, that's our moniker, but importantly, the voice for the 106 richly diverse historically black colleges and universities and 50 predominantly black institutions, the 700,000 students that are enrolled in those institutions, 72,000 faculty, and 7 million alumni. And I've been doing that for quite a while. It's my calling.
It is a great calling as well, and a noble one to serve. And now, having said that, as we continue to see how HBCUs are making progress, the President of the United States recently signed a permanent institutional funding for the HBCUs. Why is that significant, and is it good?
Well, yeah, it's significant, and it's especially significant because of the path to getting it signed. The provision that he signed has been in the Higher Education Act since George Miller was in the United States Congress as the chair of the House Education and Labor Committee, and the provision passed by bipartisan votes from the time he was there down through the years, with Democrats and Republicans affirming the importance of the only mandatory program in federal legislation for historically black colleges and universities. And so it had passed through the years, and this time we came into some stumbling blocks. But with the support of bipartisan members of Congress and leadership in the House, we got the provisions out early, had a longer battle in the Senate that resulted in not only bipartisan members of the Senate supporting the bill, but we went to the public, and we had literally thousands of persons from all walks of life. We had social justice organizations and faith-based organizations, the Divine Nine, businesses, corporations, those who understand that America's historically black colleges and universities are central to the thriving of America. They understand that HBCUs are just 3% of American colleges and universities, but in the growth and high needs areas, they are punching way above their weight. They're graduating 42% of African Americans with advanced degrees in the sciences, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They're graduating 50% of public education, African American public education professionals. They're doing tremendous jobs in healthcare, in the judicial branch. 80% of African American members of the judiciary today come from historically black colleges and universities, and 40% of the Congressional Black Caucus. And so people understand that but for these institutions, there would be no African American middle class in America. And there's a great report by Georgetown University Education Center that documents the fact that but for HBCUs, we would not have the strong, thriving African American middle class that we have. And so people came together across all manner of what could have been barriers.
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
We got the extension.
You talk about those barriers. Before I let you go, I've got to ask you a question about mentoring, because
Yes.
As you know, in the past, I did some stories on Claflin University.
Yes.
Not to single out Claflin University, but I was surprised to see how they're mentoring students to continue to achieve higher academic accomplishments. Do we see the need for mentoring programs like that across the board for HBCUs?
Yes, we do, and HBCUs are leading in that space. President Tisdale and Mrs. Tisdale did a remarkable job at Claflin, which is a small private institution that is in the top of American institutions in so many things. But we find that in HBCUs generally, because of their smaller size, they serve as mentors, and based on their historic mission and their contemporary mission, they bring students in. Some are competitive and could go anywhere in the world, and some need more nurturing, but whether you believe you do or not, in the smaller environment, you get nurturing and you get attention not only to your academic success, but to your whole being, your mental, your physical, your spiritual, all aspects of yourself. Mentoring, and you're mentored by richly diverse persons, many of whom share your background, your culture, your beliefs, and so HBCUs, we believe, are the preeminent institutions for mentoring and shepherding students to realizing their potential.
Dr. Leslie Baskerville, you're welcome on this program anytime. Continue to do the great work that you're doing with the HBCUs through your organization, NAFIO.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for affording us this platform to get the word out about
It's
what
my
we're
pleasure.
doing.
My
Congratulations on your program.
Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great.
Have
All
a
right.
glorious day.
Okay. Thank you again. A glorious day. That's fantastic. And we will continue with a glorious day right here on The Kelly Wright Show. Welcome back to the Kelly Wright Show. One of the things that's near and dear to me is mentoring our youth to become better citizens of tomorrow. And what typically happens on the streets of Chicago, you hear about it being the killing fields of America, where many of our young black males are gunned down or caught up in a trap of violence and burglary and stealing. But you don't hear about the positive things until now. You see, the mission of the CHAMPS program, the male mentoring program, in Chicago is to educate, empower, and expose African American and Latino young men beyond the four walls of the school in order to help them to achieve their dreams and goals. And joining me now is one of my very good friends, Vondale Singleton. He is the founder and director of CHAMPS, and it's all operating at the Gary Comer College Prep right there on the south side of Chicago. Vondale, thanks for joining me.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a privilege and honor to be on the show. I definitely look forward to our conversation this morning.
Well, let's get right to it because you have an amazing story. Can we start with your personal story and how you got involved ultimately in championing the cause of young champs to help them become productive citizens?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all started for me late 70s, early 80s, born on the south side of Chicago in the Bronzeville community. Lived in a place called the Otterby Wells Housing Projects. So I was born to two teenagers. My father was 19, my mother was 15 when she conceived. And we struggled. We lived in a very, very, very fast-paced, growing city here on the south side of Chicago. And so it was a lot of things that my parents just didn't have the knowledge on to raise me with the right nurturance. And so my father became a young drug dealer and the treasurer of the disciple gangs. And my mother got addicted to crack cocaine in the mid 80s during the drug epidemic here in America. And as a result of that, 14 years later, my mother succumbed. She died when I was 14. My mom was only 29. And so my father was in prison and I was technically considered to be homeless. I became a ward of the court by the state. So everything that I've earned, I've had to fight for, work hard for. And so with that back perspective, you know, it informs the work that I do today.
Yeah, Vondale, that's an amazing story. And I remember you telling me an incredible story about how your dad actually looked at you at the age of 5 and said, Vondale, I know you're 5, but you're never going to become what I am. Can you explain what that meant to you at the age of 5, hearing your dad tell you that?
Yeah, I remember it just like yesterday. It was 514 East 36th Street, apartment 202. My father, he was putting the guns underneath the mattress with the drugs. And he looked at me late at night and said, son, I don't want you to sell these drugs. I don't want you to carry guns. Daddy's doing this to take care of you. And he said, I want you to go to school. You know, I don't want you to do what I'm doing. And I never forgot that moment because around the same time, it was like this whole situation where you had the drug dealers on one side, and then you had the drug addict on another side. The unfortunate part about it was they were in my same house. So you had this house that was divided against itself. My father being a drug dealer, his sister, my mom being a drug user. And so at an early age, I kind of learned the tricks of the game by just kind of watching and observing, like, you know, the harm that it was doing to my family. And so innately it built a hunger and a desire within me to kind of go back and replay those words and that my father spoke to me about how he didn't want me to sell drugs or carry guns. And so I never steamed to want to be a drug dealer, to want to be a gangbanger. I always decided to use school as a vehicle to get me out.
You know, that's incredible, Vondale. And I would have to say that knowing you personally, I've seen you do so many great things. You went on to Oral Roberts University. You graduated from there with your master's, and now you returned to the very neighborhood that you grew up in to make a change. What motivated you to start CHAMPS? And I can already hear the answer, but tell us, please.
Yeah, so, you know, I have to go back to, you know, my father's story. You know, a lot of the young men that we deal with today in the educational system in urban America, they all have a father story. And it's usually, I don't know my father. My father is absentee, he's locked up or he's dead. And that's a very terrible, terrible story to have. And so it's unfair with all of the issues that we see that the men are absent from the homes, which create a lot of insecurity and lack of self-identity. And so I met a mentor in 1997, Stephen Robertson, and he pretty much gave me the blueprint of what was possible. And he said, young man, have you ever flown on a plane before? I said, no, sir. And my first trip was to Stanford University in California. So the bar was set really high for me.
Yeah, and nationwide, Vondell, Champs is making an impact. You're influencing other people, and you've had other people step up to the plate to help you, including President Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, and the work that he's done to acknowledge you with his My Brother's Keeper Foundation. And then there's some other stars that we should probably talk about as well. Not just to talk about the star power, but the fact that we see a lot of athletes and even politicians stepping in to help you in your space. I've been there. I've seen some of those powerful, influential people, but more importantly, I've seen the kids respond to them. Give me a few names, if you will. Do some name dropping here of the people who have stepped up to help.
Okay, since you insist, obviously, the first year of starting Champs, and let me just put it out there that Champs stands for culturally helping and making positive success. And we believe that every young man is born to win in every situation in life. And our three anchors are education, empowerment, and exposure. And so, I was asked at the beginning of all of this to actually go into a classroom with some young people who were struggling. And they had a lot of different, behavior issues, home issues, self-esteem issues. And they were constantly, being removed or disengaged in the learning process. And so they would naturally end up in my office. And at the time I was the assistant principal of discipline. They would end up in my office. And of course I would ask, hey, why are you back here? You were here yesterday. Why are you back here again? And so the same stories kept coming up. It was like, hey, I'm going through things at home. I'm not getting the attention that I need, so on and so forth. And so within that year, I really saw a clear vision, got on my knees and prayed like, hey, what is my role? What is my responsibility? And that's when I heard Champs. And so I went back to the young people and I said, hey, from this point on, I'm calling you Champs. You born to win. And I would never forget one person raised their hand and said, Champs is when you win something. We haven't won anything yet. I said, well, I'm going to speak it into your life until you start behaving like it, walking like it, acting like it. And within 6 months, we were standing in the White House in front of President Obama. I still get goosebumps thinking about that moment. And that was kind of like the 2015, around the time we had really got the program off the ground. So, to start off with a visit at the White House with President Obama, one of our, once in a lifetime experiences, what it did, it instilled a lot of confidence in the young people. And they felt like, what, we can continue to see ourselves doing great things. And from that, we started what we call the Born to Win conference. And that conference we do every year. We're going into our 5th conference, June 6, 2020. And so we've had some of the greatest, speakers, basketball players, entertainers, lawyers, doctors, come join us in a day of empowerment.
Vondell, that's fantastic. Let's take a break and we'll be right back with you with more. Back with more of Vondell Singleton right after this. Back now, we're continuing my conversation with Vondell Singleton, the founder of Champs on the south side of Chicago at the Gary Comer College Prep, which is, as I mentioned, the south side of Chicago, but it's right around the corner, we understand, Vondell, from where the former First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, lived and grew up. And we've heard about her plight in growing up, and look what she accomplished. So you're passing on the torch, if you will, and keeping the flame burning bright in the eyes and the hearts and the imaginations of our youth. We don't hear enough about this story about Champs. We don't hear enough positive stories about Black youth in America. Why is that, and what can we do about it?
Yeah, so I believe in changing the narrative and shifting culture. And in order to do that, we have to understand that it's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of desystemizing the systems that have been set against, Black boys in general. And so for me, I always look at like, what am I doing to remove barriers and provide safe spaces? So one of the things that we do every single day is we offer a class called Champs Leadership Class. And it's Monday through Friday for 2 hours every single day, where I work with upperclassmen young men. And we walk through networking skills, social emotional learning, leadership skills. And obviously we're getting ready for All-Star Weekend, which we really excited that it's back in Chicago. Believe it or not, after 32 years, finally coming back to Chicago. You would think it had been here by 10 times by now.
And you'll be there
But
this weekend,
nonetheless, yes, it's this weekend. And so we're excited to be hosting some great events.
Right?
One event is called Black Boy Joy. And that event is really to give our young people opportunity to dream again, right?
All
They're
right.
growing up in inner cities of Chicago, where all you see and hear in the media is black and brown savages, thugs, gangsters, shooting, killing, robbing, stealing. And yet I'm with young men who have some of the
All right.
greatest insights, greatest
That's great,
wisdom,
Vondale.
greatest minds in the world.
You know, we got to end it there, but man, thank you so much for spending the time with us. And Black Boy Joy, we're wishing you all the best. God bless you, man. As we say at Oral Roberts University, make no small plans here. Certainly, you made a big plan, and you're delivering it. God bless you, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Vondale Singleton, we're looking forward to what will happen during the All-Star Weekend with Black Boy Joy. Be sure to watch the Kelly Wright Show on Monday, where we have a follow-up to that. It's going to be a fantastic event. But seeing is believing, and what we just showed you is that the impossible can be made possible by just having faith and trusting in your instincts to do the right thing. And as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, it's always the right time to do what is right. We'll be back in a moment. Mentorship is one of the foundations of a healthy society. John Stevenson is a radio personality, author, and teacher. He believes everyone can reach a sense of empowerment through renewed thinking. John's book is Servanthood to Purpose, and he joins me now to discuss servanthood.
Yes, sir.
A lot of times we don't understand that title, servanthood or servant leadership. What does it mean?
I believe it means that we're putting ourselves in a place to empower and better other people. I believe that everybody has a call and a purpose, and with that call and that purpose, we're first put in that place to serve someone and to make someone better. Everybody's called to somebody. I totally believe that. I believe it.
So does it boil down to the sense that people don't know or don't care about how much you know until they can see how you care?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think if everybody can show their love and show their willingness to give, I believe my core values are I love, I give, I serve. So if we can provide that, I think people will open up more to receive change. I think change starts with servanthood.
I like what you said. I love, I give, I serve. In fact, you gave me one of your bracelets there.
Yeah.
I love, I give, I serve. Thank you for that. In doing that, we see that there's a role to be played by people who have that gift of service. Mm-hmm. But we all have that gift, and it's really reaching out to improve our society rather than denigrate and criticize our loved ones and our youth and our older people who are still trying to make it in this world. Mm-hmm. So how do you use servant leadership in politics, in the church, in colleges, in mentoring?
I think if we're looking for where the need is, where's the need and what can I provide for that need, I think it starts first with a willing heart. If I am willing to put myself in a place to help, and love is the foundation for that, I believe that you can implement yourself just about any place. I always say this, you can't take a man that's able, make him faithful, but you can take a faithful man and make him able. So if I have a willing heart to be faithful, I can adjust and adapt to be anything you need.
So it's intentional then?
Yes, sir.
We have to be intentional about serving others.
Yes, sir.
And that's so important in the Black community because a lot of times, sometimes we're mired in what's going on in the universe, where we have gangs, where we have drugs, we have violence, and we tend to see those things, but we don't see the positive examples of a mentoring program or a college program or a servant program where we're serving each other.
Exactly. I think when just do social media now, everybody wants to get, and if you feel like you don't have, and you feel like you're being taken advantage of, sometimes we're not grateful. Sometimes I think in our community, I think I'm going to be grateful that I'm alive today. I'll be grateful. What can I do for someone else? Every seed sown schedules some kind of harvest somewhere. And so if I'm sowing,
say that again. Every seed sown schedules some kind of harvest.
Schedules some kind of harvest for you somewhere.
So does that mean if you sow a bad seed, you're going to reap a bad seed?
Exactly.
But if you do the opposite, then you've got some great results.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We call it cause and effect sometimes, but I like to call it what it is. It's whatever I sow, I'm going to reap. So if I'm thinking about always doing something good and sowing something good, I schedule something for my own outcome and my own purpose.
That's really great. John, thank you. That crystallizes so much. The book is called Servanthood to Purpose, and you have another book out there as well. I'm going to hold that up. This was your first book, Notes from the Heart.
Yes, sir.
And that one dealt with a church working collectively and growing together. Imagine that. That gets into another topic for which we'll have you back on, about why that doesn't always happen yet needs to happen, not only in the church but in our communities as well. John, thank you for your contributions to Black America and to all Americans, actually, in talking about servanthood for a purpose. And our purpose, according to what you're saying, is to love,
Give,
and serve.
Yes, sir.
John, thank you.
Kelly, thank you.
All right, we're going to come back with more on the Kelly Wright Show. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kelly Wright. Well, he is one of the top speakers in the world, Dr. Willie Jolly. He was inducted into the Speakers Hall of Fame. He is the author of the best-selling book, It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life. He helps Fortune 500 companies increase their profits by helping their employers and employees understand the power of teamwork. He is an author, radio host, media personality, speaker, and an accomplished singer and performer, and he's also my friend. Dr. Willie Jolly joins us now on the Kelly Wright Show.
My brother. How are you?
I'm great, especially now that you're here.
You know, I'm honored to be here. Well, you know, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. Didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it, and I'm gonna make the most of this minute, this moment, this opportunity to be with my friend, and to say greetings and congratulations on this wonderful new program.
Man, drop the mic. I'm out of here. But really, all the things that you have accomplished in your life, especially in the power of your words and in the gift of speaking and lifting people higher.
Yes.
What caused that in Willie Jolly?
Well, I think part of that being caused by the fact that my circumstances determined my thinking, and my thinking made a decision that my past does not determine my future. Now, I say that to say I was a nightclub singer. I was a singer who was doing very well, making money, winning awards, and got fired and replaced by a karaoke machine at the last club I was at because they said, we love you, the people love you, but we're trying to get a better return on investment. There's something else that's cheaper. We bought a karaoke machine. And I was devastated because that circumstance changed my life. But it was in that moment I had to decide, was I going to let someone else determine my destiny, or I was going to determine my destiny? And I took a job with the school system, started speaking, and that was over 20 years ago. I've been named one of the top 5 speakers in the world, inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame, named a legend, because I didn't let my circumstances determine my destiny.
And so many of us can learn from your story. I want to take it back to that school system that you were speaking at, because you're also mentoring kids at the time.
Yeah, we're working with a youth program and trying to help young people to stay away from drugs, to stay away from alcohol, to pursue academic excellence, make wise life choices. And we were mentoring them, and I learned that the words I was using and the stories I was telling could paint a picture in their mind to make them make better decisions. I'll give you a quick story. I was in Japan speaking for the U.S. Marines, and I was going through the security checkpoint, and I was flagged. I didn't know why I was flagged, but I was flagged, and they said, we need to take you in the back. I go in the back, only to find a young man who was the commander of the security detail who said, you came to my school in 1993. I was on drugs. I was making poor choices, and your message about your friends made me think. I left that gang situation, left the drugs, got a scholarship to West Point. Now I'm the commander here. He said, I never thought I'd get to say thank you. And so you never know where it's going to turn up or how, but those stories, those poignant points can impact people's lives. And that's what I want to do globally. And that's what we're trying to do with radio and television. I got a new radio show on Get Up Morning with Erica Campbell on Praise Network every morning at 8:20 Eastern Time, 7:20 Central, plus my Sirius XM show on channel 141. All of this is part of a commitment that I made, that I was going to help others to see that their past doesn't determine their future, and whatever circumstances they're in now does not have to be the rest of it. Come on,
because the circumstances you're going through right now, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, you can change.
That's right. You know,
you can
I love
learn
this
from
thought.
your past and your present and learn.
Wherever you are in your life, you either drove there or someone drove you there, and you are there. Now, that does not mean you cannot drive out. Come on, somebody. Come on, my man. I want people to go to my new website. We just created winwithwillie.com. We're taking this global. And on there, we'll teach you how to win in business, how to win in your personal life, how to win in marriage, how to win with your children, how to win in so many areas. Just go to winwithwillie.com, because we want to help people win and make this the best decade.
You can see why I love this guy. It's contagious. His name is Dr. Willie Jolly. But wait, there's more. We're going to come back in a moment. You're going to meet his best part.
That's right.
And that's his lovely wife, Dee. Back with more of the Kelly Wright Show and Dr. Willie Jolly and his wife, Dee, in just a moment. They say that behind every good man, there is a good woman, and Dr. Jolly's wife and co-author of How to Win More in Marriage, Dee Jolly, has joined us. This is the book, and the book is amazing. Make love, make money, make it last. So is it true, you guys, in all your times of marriage, you've never had an argument?
Well, that's not quite true. We've been married 35 years, come June, and we haven't had an argument in 33 years.
First couple of years were extremely challenging.
We're like World War III.
You were getting to know yourselves.
Well, we didn't have systems, or we didn't have any principles on how to stay married, and we got some wise mentors who helped us learn how to stop arguing and get to loving. And what we tell people in the book is there are two ways to get to any goal: mentors and mistakes. Both will get you there. One just gets you there quicker with less headaches and heartaches. And that's what we learn from these mentors. And we learned these principles. We started employing and embracing the principles, and it changed our marriage.
Communication.
Communication.
Communication is key. Now, what is communication? It's not just talking. It's being able to listen.
Wow.
Right.
And listening is not just with the ears, it's with the eyes, the body language. And being able to say, listen, question and clarify. You said what? Is that what you meant? No, you didn't hear me, but that's what I thought you said. No, you didn't understand what I meant. Let me try that again. And taking the time to question and listen, and then repeat what that person said to make sure that you understand, and then being able to quickly apologize. Those are certain things that we learned over the Chinese food.
Okay, so
when we were
that's
arguing.
awesome.
Yes.
When you were arguing, so you learn to communicate,
Yeah.
actively listen,
yes,
apologize.
yes,
What about forgiveness?
And we do that too. That's
Absolutely.
part of it too, because that's part of the process. And forgive.
apologizing and forgiving.
Yeah, it's very important. So the three big boulders that break up marriage, 50% of marriages in America break up. And statistics show of the 50% that remains, 40% of those people are miserable and are staying in only because of economic reasons. The three things that break up marriage are communication, sex, and money. And of the three, the big one is communication.
Now, why is that so important? Because communication influences the sex, and it influences the money.
That's
Your
right.
ability to talk about it or not talk about it, or hiding things from your spouse because you don't know how they're going to take it. And you don't know how they're going to take it because you have not developed that relationship through communicating that will allow you to talk about those things that are difficult.
Can you overcome failure?
Oh yeah, we've
been there,
We've been
yes.
there. We've been there. You go overcome failure by one, making a commitment. In chapter number 3, that you got to decide to make it last. You know, people make the vow for better, for worse, for rich, for poor, in sickness and health. They don't always mean it.
Well, I think they think they do until a difficult situation comes up and they're like, we didn't prepare for that.
That's right.
Or we didn't talk about what if.
Right. So we
Worst case
talk about that.
scenarios.
We have 10 principles that we share, and there's a chapter for people who are not yet married.
Okay.
We put a chapter in there because
That's an important one.
big important one, because people need to know how to choose the right one, because people will come along. You got to realize that there are suspects and then there are prospects, and you got to know which one are which. And so we tell people, you know, let me show you how to determine the prospects from the suspects, and we talk about that. And finally, we talk about the fact that you got to talk about the money, you got to talk about sex. We got a chapter called Sex, Headaches, and Other Lies.
Okay.
And how one of my friends from South Carolina, her mama told her on her wedding day, said, now baby, let me tell you something, don't ever forget this, don't ever have a headache, because when you have a headache, there's a woman somewhere with an aspirin in her pocketbook.
That says a lot.
So we want marriages. Our goal is to help a million marriages keep from breaking up, and a million marriages also be enhanced. That's our goal in writing this book. So go to jollymarriage.com, get a free chapter.
Yes.
One of the most powerful chapters we give away free. Go to jollymarriage.com, get the free chapter, and then get the book. And when you get the book, get 2 copies, one for each one of you. Go through it together, and you'll be able to grow together. And then we
Answer the questions at the end of each chapter.
and we have a marriage seminar February 22nd that you can get live or virtual if you want to stay home with your spouse and watch it.
We'll be sure to do that.
Yeah.
And Dee, before I leave, when you bring a strong marriage together, it strengthens the family.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And blended families.
And blend the family.
Strengthens the family,
Okay.
helps to keep the finances strong, and provides a positive role model
Okay.
for the next generation.
Well, Dr. Willie and Dee Jolly, 2 fantastic people. I love you both, and we're going to leave this, but since we're talking about love, Bobby Caldwell's a dear friend of mine. You and I
We
sing
love-
this out. We can sing. What you won't do for love. You tried everything, but you don't give up. In our world, only you. We'll be back with more right after this. We'll segue out. Bobby Caldwell, we love you.
I
Willie
love
Jolly and
Bobby
Dee
Caldwell.
Jolly.
Thank you so much.
More
And
in a
I
moment.
don't sing.
A final comment about today's show. Hopefully you've been righted and ignited to understand that we must truly challenge each other to be our brother's keeper and not our brother's killer. Now, early in the show, we interviewed Vondale Singleton, founder of CHAMPS, a mentoring program geared towards Chicago's Black and Latino young men. Members of the organization created an inspiring and empowering video. Watch now and be inspired. Keep spreading some love, freedom, and peace out there. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Champs, C-H-A-M-P-S, champs. Culturally helping them make it positive success, champs. They always do their best and they do what's right, champs. Born to win in every situation in life, champs. C-H-A-M-P-S, champs. Culturally helping them make it positive success, champs. They always do their best and they do what's right, champs. Born to win in every situation in life. Gary Coleman College Prep, noble efforts change lives. Be noble. I look into these students' eyes. They taking their education to a new high. And they the future. They representing you and I. They make us look good in the CHI on their reading and math. Thanks to the teacher staff, administrative board, the coaches and the parents. They on one accord. They all truly care about making a difference and giving up their time, helping the students get in line, putting success on their mind, passing test scores, and they winning in the sports. They going all the way. They not coming up short. And I'm proud of these young people. They like inspiration and great motivation for the next generation. A lot of dedication, nothing but elevation. I can't wait to see them all at graduation. Champs, C-H-A-M-P-S, champs. Culturally helping them make it positive success, champs. They always do their best and they do what's right, champs. Born to win in every situation in life, champs. C-H-A-M-P-S, champs. Culturally helping them make it positive success, champs. They always do their best and they do what's right, champs. Born to win in every situation in life.
Free in thought, the miracle, a group of young men who looking at success like an art. Shout out to the mentors who played their part. Gary Coleman had my best interests at heart. I used to be at risk, then I switched it up. Started hitting them books and kept my grades up. Hit them hard ever since while being a 6'2" center. Never had to dread winners because I was a champ, always stood tall and slender. So just know a catamount will always be a winner. Far above average, never been dramatic. I'm on another level, it's like I'm playing Madden. Brain power working like Stevie doing magic. Team on the bus, we praying God we trust. You know it's all love, so we lay out welcome rugs to all the above. No matter the social plug, champs.
In the ring of life, a champ is born. In Chicago, violence and mistaken is our history. As champs, we choose to redefine our identity to become bright and successful men. As champs, it's time for each of us to take a stand.